Hey, what's up guys? This video is about gear that I think everyone who's prepared and has that mindset should own. I want to work my way down the list. The beginning is just a good starting point in my opinion. First thing is a pistol. If you live in the US, more than likely you're probably allowed to conceal carry unless you live in, one of the few states that, it's hard to get a permit in. So I think as an American, the most important gun you should own, at least currently, is your pistol. So that's why I recommend you get that first. I recommend a striker-fire pistol, 9mm compact size. 9mm is very adequate for defense. It's common. There's a variety out there. I do recommend a striker-fire pistol, especially for someone who's new. They're easier to learn on. They're more practical because there's less parts, less to go wrong. And I do recommend compact size, just generally because that's easy to conceal for most people, but it's still big enough to actually be a fighting pistol. When you buy your gun, I recommend that you get a Kydex holster and also a belt that's designed to carry a firearm. Do not get a leather or nylon holster for a striker-fired pistol. Get something made of Kydex that's rigid and designed specifically for your pistol that covers the trigger guard all the way. I do recommend that you get a belt that's designed for concealed carry or duty use. A department store belt isn't designed to hold up the weight of a firearm and be stable. You'll just have to over torque your belt and it'll just be uncomfortable and you'll eventually just rip your belt. So get something. I like Core Essentials, Blue Alpha Gear, etc. Next, you should get a light. Regardless if you want a weapon light or not, always have a handheld light. There's many advantages to having a handheld light over a weapon light. I like the Streamlight ProTech 2LX. It's affordable. Of course, you can get a Surefire. They make good lights too. If you do get a weapon light, make sure you get a holster that can accommodate your weapon light and your pistol. They also make holsters like the Filster Floodlight, which I really like because most pistols will fit in it as long as you have your Surefire X300. If you're on a budget, the Streamlight TLR1 HL is a very good light. I've had them before, and they're definitely good. Do not get O-light, in my opinion. They heat up too hot, and then they start dimming down, so you can't even have it that bright for long. And you have to charge them on the light, so you can't take out a battery and replace it. That's why I don't recommend them. After that, I recommend that you get at least 5 extra magazines. Try to at least. That way you'll get 2 or 3 with your particular pistol. You can dedicate those for defense. You can take 5, use 2 of those for training purposes, and have 2 as a backup just in case any of your defensive magazines go down. Number all of your magazines so you can differentiate between all of them, and if you have an issue with one, you can address it and set that one aside. After that, I do recommend that you get some ammo. And when I mean ammo, I mean get like 500 rounds that you put away so you can have that ammo put away, and then have your training ammo and defensive ammo separately. My favorite ammo to put away is Winchester 9mm NATO, just because it's a hotter ammunition. It has less of a muzzle flash and signature compared to like Fiocchi and American Eagle. And it's hotter ammunition, so has more velocity. It's similar in zero and recoil to the HST 124 grain, which I carry. For defensive use, I recommend HST, Gold Dot, Sig V crowns are good too, and I do like the Underwood Extreme Defenders as well. After that, you should get some medical as well. Everyone needs to have some medical. Get an IFAK and also get a couple extra tourniquets so you have at least 2 or 3, if not more. And, get some bandages, quick clots, stuff like that. Then I recommend that you get some training. There's nothing that can take the place of professional training. Even if you have a military or law enforcement background, you should still seek out professional training. There's a lot of people out there that have been doing it for years, and it's always beneficial to get some training, even if they're not necessarily having a military background. I mean, if you go take a class from a competition shooter, you're definitely going to learn stuff and mature as a shooter. After that, it's definitely good to have a rifle around. The reason I show this rifle in my videos is because it's a solid rifle, it's affordable, and obtainable for most people. I do have nicer rifles. Daniel Defense, I've had a Knight's Armor before, so I've had a lot of different ARs, and I have a pretty good basis to judge what's a good rifle on. This is just a complete BCM upper that's put on an arrow lower. You can get a complete arrow if you're on a budget. I've had better luck with arrow in the past than rifles made from PSA. That's just my experience only, though. You're going to need to get some sights and an optic. If you can't afford an optic, just get some flip-up sights, but get the Magpul Pros at least, because they are metal and they won't vibrate apart under recoil like the plastic ones do. If you want an optic and you're on a budget, Holosun 503, even a 403, they're good budget optics. I have Holosun, I've had them in the past. If you can afford a little bit more, get an 8-point Pro. There's a very solid optics. The EOTech is also good. I really like EOTechs. The battery life just doesn't last nearly as long as an 8-point. But they're all good optics. Just regardless, make sure you have spare batteries. You're going to need a sling as well. I really like the Ferro Concept slings because you can adjust them very quickly. They're affordable too as well. Magpul makes some budget slings too, and some nicer ones, but there's a lot of good slings out there. A light, if you're on a budget, Streamlight Pro Tech. This is a great light. Had them before. It's 1,000 lumens. You do get it with a pressure pad, pressure pad. I've broken them before. Just make sure you retain your wires and just be safe with them. But they do give you a tail cap too, so you can run it with the tail cap or the pressure pad, and it sets you up basically with everything you need to run it, and it's very, very affordable. I do have other lights from Surefire, and they definitely make a good light. I'm just recommending the Streamlight if you are on a budget. Of course, you can go buy a nicer light from Surefire or Arisaka Cloud Defense if you'd like. I do recommend that you get like a 10-pack of the Magpul P-Mags. I prefer the Gen 3 mags over the Gen 2. I only use my Gen 2 magazines for training purposes. I'm not saying they're bad magazines. There's just some advantages to the Generation 3 that the Generation 2 does not have. They tend to seat better, especially with different, 300 Blackout 2 as well, which I also run. But I like the Gen 3 to have a over insertion tab too, and it's a little bit better. I do recommend that you get more ammo. You get 500 rounds. Put that away. Keep that separate from your training ammo and your defensive ammo. You can just get M193. Try to get full power M193. Winchester makes some. Let me see what Hornady Frontier. That's full power M193. PMC makes great ammunition. It's technically not a full power M193 or M855. It is good ammunition, and I do use it a lot, but M193 will work fine. When you get a rifle, if it's your first AR, I recommend that you get a 16-inch barrel. One, you don't have to play the pistol brace game, which is getting a little more complicated nowadays. Of course, you can SBR it if you like, but you get more velocity and lethality out of a 16-inch barrel. So if you have a 16-inch barrel, you won't have any issue using M193 for self-defense, even M855. So barrel length is what gives you your lethality when it comes to a 5.56. After you've done that and got some ammunition, I do recommend you get a chest rig. There's plenty of good ones out there. Again, G-Code, Haley Strategic, the Mayflowers, or the Velocity systems. Now there's plenty of great ones out there. If you are on a budget, you can always get a surplus Chi-Com rig. And I've seen some of the Condor chest rigs and plate carriers, which are very, very affordable. Obviously made in China, but I've seen those last for years. I have a plate carrier by Condor that's like 12 years old, something like that. It's really old, but that stuff tends to hold up over the years if you happen to be on a budget. Of course, you can go get nicer gear, but I'm just saying for those who are on a budget. After that, I do recommend you get some training. Now you have your chest rig and everything. If you like, get a outside the waistband holster too. I recommend Safariland. That's about as good as it gets when it comes to outside the waistband holsters, at least the level 2 and level 3. That's what I recommend. This is just a Safariland. I think it's the 6390 RDS, which is for the Glock 17, Surefire X300, and an optic. But I recommend you get some training, especially, rifle classes. That's what's most beneficial. You can take some pistol classes, but if you have a rifle, it's definitely useful to take a rifle class and a pistol class too. Just get some training. There's nothing that can actually replace professional training. You can only do so much on your own, so it's best to seek out people and learn from those people. Train with people who have more experience than you as well. You're always learning. You never know everything. That's basically what I'm trying to get across on this video. If you want to get a plate carrier after that, go ahead and get a plate carrier. I'm not going to try to tell you that a civilian shouldn't own a plate carrier. I kind of feel like that's when someone says you don't need an AR-15. If you want to get a plate carrier, go ahead and get a plate carrier. It's never been a better time to actually buy one because there's affordable plates out there that are NIJ certified and are actually good plates. But if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And if not, that'll be it. Thanks for watching, guys.